Well, what an incredibly moving film. Thank you so much. We're going to have a chance for them to really respond to the film and to answer questions that you would have. And Anne and her partner Al will be available with some cards if you prefer to write your questions out, and then they'll bring them up here. For those of you who prefer just to raise your hand and ask the question, we'll try to get with you, to you with a microphone, but it's a little easier the other way if possible. But we want to honor all of the ways that you'd like to ask your questions or make your comments. So I think to begin with,
Qué increíble presentación acabamos de ver. Vamos a tener una oportunidad de hacer preguntas al panel para ver si ustedes tienen preguntas. Anne y Al tienen tarjetas que pueden escribir sus preguntas en ellas, o si alguien tiene una pregunta pero no la puede escribir, levante la mano y vamos a pasar el micrófono.
So why don't we have each of you say a little bit about yourself right now and how you came to doing this film together.
Cada uno preséntese y díganos cómo hicieron esta presentación todos juntos.
Hi, my name is Esmirna. I am 22 years old and I am currently a student at Skagit Valley College.
Su nombre es Esmirna, tiene 22 años y ahorita está yendo al colegio de Skagit Valley College.
I'm Noemi. I'm 17 years old. I'm a senior at Burlington High School.
Su nombre es Noemi, tiene 17 años y ahorita está en su cuarto año en la preparatoria de Burlington.
And I'm Seth Holmes, and I'm a medical doctor and an anthropologist and a professor, and I've been working with Noemi and Esmirna's families since before Noemi was born.
Y su nombre es Seth Holmes, es un antropólogo y un doctor y ha estado trabajando con Esmirna y Noemi desde antes que Noemi naciera.
So how did you come to doing this film together? What was the dream, the inspiration, the desire that went behind making this film?
¿Cómo llegaron a hacer esta presentación juntos? ¿Qué fue el sueño? ¿Cuál fue el deseo para hacer esto?
Well, at first, it was something just for us. We felt as if we were going to Mexico and part of our family and who couldn't go. And we chose to record it all, record the video letters. As you guys can see, my grandpa was giving thanks to my dad, and then I have my uncle sending a message to my great-grandpa. And at first, we just thought to keep it to ourselves. We didn't really think it was going to be what it is now. And after a couple times, like over a year, a little over a year, we chose to put the clips together and create the film that it is now.
Al principio esto iba a ser solamente para nosotros, no teníamos ni idea que se iba a ser tan grande como es ahorita. Solamente íbamos a ir a México, íbamos a conocer a nuestra familia, queríamos grabar para la familia que estaba aquí, grabar para la que estaba en México, para que se conocieran, se pudieran ver otra vez. Y nunca pensábamos que iba a ser tan grande. Después de como un año decidimos poner todo junto y ahora es lo que es.
Although my two cousins who are also co-directors couldn't be here, it's because they're from California, so we had to be able to connect. We Zoomed, we called, we messaged, anything virtual that we could do, we did it because we couldn't really meet since they are in California and we're here in Washington.
Nuestros dos primos que también salieron en esta producción, ellos no viven aquí, viven en California, así que lo que hicimos fue llamamos por Zoom, llamamos por videollamada, llamamos por teléfono, todo lo que podíamos hacer virtual lo hicimos para poder conectar con ellos también y poder hacer esto.
for a little more context on that, so you can tell just by the years that it took us about 5 years to make the film, and actually a fair amount of grant support too. We watched, I think, hundreds of versions of the film, partially to be able to first translate all of the Triqui into Spanish, and then translate the Spanish into English, and then double check that the English matched with what the Triqui was, which took a long time, and all the while editing, and then in their relative's hometown, as actually their dad said in the film, there's not very good cell phone service, or there's not much Wi-Fi. You have to walk to the very edge of town and kind of hold your phone up, and then you can, maybe check Facebook or something. So we made sort of low-resolution versions of each version of the film and sent it to all the family members. They sent it to all the family members in their relatives in the village, so that and then we gave them a week or two to watch it and give us feedback about which scenes were most important, or which scenes they preferred not to be public. And every time, it was a super participatory process, not just the 4 directors, but every time there was a question, they talked with their cousins, their parents, their grandparents, sent messages, kind of kept track of it in Google Docs about all the feedback, and then went to the next version and did it again. So it was a lot of time and patience, and I think at some point we weren't really sure it would end.
Por lo que pueden ver, tomó muchos años hacer esto, tomó más o menos 5 años. Hicieron muchas versiones de la producción, tuvieron que pasar todo lo de Triqui a español, lo de español a inglés, revisar que lo de inglés está correcto con lo de Triqui. Lo mandaban a sus familiares en México, todos ayudaron, no nomás eran los 4 participantes. Y como dijeron en la producción, no hay mucha señal en su pueblo, tienen que ir a los afueras a ver los mensajes, y así podían tener bien, si algo no salía bien, si algo no les gustaba, tenían que revisar y hacer más versiones.
There's really nothing I could add. They really said everything, but it's not just 30 minutes. It's hours and hours and hours of videos. It's not just 30 minutes.
No hay mucho que yo pueda agregar, ya dijeron ellos casi todo, pero no solamente son 30 minutos, sino son horas y horas de producción de video que tuvimos que hacer y cortarlo todo en 30 minutos.
So what experiences stay with you now since you've been there, and that just hold a very kind of precious, tender memory with you from your time there?
¿Cuáles memorias son las que se quedaron con ustedes más después de ir a su pueblo? ¿Qué fue lo que más disfrutaron que todavía siguen recordando ahora?
There's a lot of memories, new experiences, new things we learned.
Hay muchas memorias, nuevas experiencias, muchas cosas que aprendimos.
We felt, in some way we felt how our parents felt when they left their family behind. We left a little part of us when we came back. As you can see, I wasn't able to go back the next year before my great-grandpa passed. My sister was able to, but I wasn't, and that still hurts me till this day.
De una manera nos sentimos igual a como nuestros padres se sintieron al venirse a los Estados Unidos. Nosotros dejamos un pedacito de nosotros ahí en el pueblo. Yo no pude regresar al año siguiente antes de que falleciera mi bisabuelo, pero mi hermana sí, y todavía me duele a mí mucho.
My great-grandpa is something that stuck with me. It's like, it's sad to think that like people can go so quick, you know, and when we left, like my sister said, it's like if we left a part of us, and I can only imagine. I can only imagine like how my parents felt when they left, and not being able to spend the time that I wish to with my great grandpa is something that hurt the most, I feel, because everyone there isn't getting any younger. And it's not like we can come and go so often because of money as well, you know? Like there's so many reasons why we can't come and go and for us to just know that nobody's getting any younger is something that I feel is just not easy to just come back and forget, you know? After spending the little time that I did with my great grandpa and getting the moments caught on camera, like the moment that my aunt told him whose daughter I was, that will forever be in my heart.
Mi bisabuelo es algo que siempre va a quedarse conmigo, no poder pasar tanto tiempo con él, todavía me duele ver cómo hizo su cara cuando su tía dijo que ella era la hija de quien era, eso siempre va a quedarse con ella en su corazón.
It hurts us to know that we can't go back, you know, knowing that we actually can go back. But now imagine our parents, they can't go back. They can't go back and forth, even if they saved enough money to go. How will they come back?
Saber que no podemos regresar, no nomás por el dinero, sino por otras razones, eso nos duele y también sabemos que nuestros papás no pueden regresar por muchas razones, solamente nos podemos imaginar cómo se sienten ellos.
And not only do our family members over there also feel upset when we came back, but the puppies did too. And like that's something you probably don't even like think much about, right? But my sister and I named a dog over there when we got there our first year, and when I went back the second year, like the dog remembered me, and when I came back he was so upset. Like he was sleeping, just laying all day, and my aunt would just be like, I think he can feel that you're leaving. And not that long ago I found out that he went missing, and we don't know where he's at. He's probably not with us anymore, and even stuff like that hurt. You know, I didn't think that losing my dog that I didn't see for like years would hurt, because like knowing that I'm eventually gonna go back, or I hope to go back eventually once again, knowing that he's not gonna be there, knowing that they're not gonna be there, is like, if I feel this way, how do my parents feel? It's been years. And not even like, yeah, they can call and stuff, but it's not the same. And like my dad said, it's hard to get signal over there.
No solamente sus familiares los extrañan, sino también el perrito que estaba en la producción. Él, cuando se vino la segunda vez, el perrito se la pasó todo el día acostado porque la extrañaba ya. Y nomás de pensar que cuando regrese en algunos años, que ella espera poder regresar, saber que sus familiares a lo mejor ya no van a estar ahí, o que el perrito se acaba de ir, no saben dónde está, saber que no están ellos ahí le duele mucho, y nomás se imagina cómo se han de sentir sus papás después de tantos años.
Well, it sounds like the connections that are made are so deeply and profoundly felt and experienced. And this question that came from the audience right now, is there a place here in Skagit Valley where Triqui people can meet and celebrate your culture?
Una pregunta del audience es, hay un lugar aquí en Skagit Valley donde las personas de Triqui pueden ir y celebrar su cultura.
They don't do it much here in Skagit. I know they travel to California to celebrate their, what do you call it? Their well, it's their like idol. They're like
Aquí en Skagit no lo hacen mucho, sabemos que lo hacen en California y mucha gente viaja hacia California para celebrar.
okay, it just came to me.
Ya se acordó.
They go to celebrate San Martín Caballero, which is like their what they believe. They go to California and celebrate that. They celebrate the town, and that's what they do over there.
Van a California y celebran a San Martín Tadeo, Caballero, y es algo en lo que ellos creen y van a California, celebran eso y se juntan con las demás personas de Triqui.
So another question that came from the audience is, if you knew ahead of time how successful this film would have been or is there anything you would have changed during filming?
Si ustedes hubieran sabido qué tan exitosos iba a ser esta producción, ¿hay algo que ustedes hubieran cambiado durante el tiempo de grabación?
Personally, I don't think I would change anything. As you can see, we didn't script anything, we didn't act anything. Everything was raw and how it is.
Personalmente no hubiera cambiado nada. Como ustedes pudieron ver, todo fue original, nada fue escrito, nada fue actuado, todo fue como es.
I feel like I wouldn't change anything as well. Although I was really young and like I feel like some of the stuff I said, like I could have like said it differently if I knew how to say it. But it's okay because within time I like learned. But yeah, I feel like my sister said, everything was just live. No script, no, we're gonna turn on the camera, you better act pretty, you know? Nothing. We just kind of put the camera in everyone's faces. But it's okay because we asked them what parts they wanted in the film and what parts they didn't, you know? But no, there's nothing that I would change about it.
Yo no cambiaría nada tampoco, solo que cuando grabamos estaba muy pequeña y las cosas que dije pienso que las podía haber dicho mejor, pero como dice mi hermana, todo fue original, nada fue escrito, nada fue actuado, pero no hubiera cambiado nada.
I sort of want to reflect on the question before about Triqui people celebrating family and culture. One thing that stood out to me is all the ways that Noemi and Esmirna and their cousins' families do actively care for each other, even though they haven't been able to see each other for years and years. I think in some ways the video letters that they filmed were already a genre that people are sort of used to, recording yourself and sending a message on Facebook, or recording the Festival of San Martín Caballero in California and sending it to people in San Martín, so that they're actually, during the celebration in San Martín, they're watching their relatives celebrate in California kind of at the same time, and vice versa. I remember at one of the big San Martín Caballero festivals in California, there was a big screen TV that was showing all of their relatives doing exactly the same thing in Oaxaca at the same time. And when we drove down, I remember we were stopped at the border by the, sorry, I'm talking too much. Do you want to translate?
Yeah, sorry. Voy a reflexionar un poco sobre la pregunta anterior, sobre la cultura, si las personas triquis celebran y todo eso. Noemi y Esmirna todavía tienen un muy grande apoyo con su familia que está en México. Y en California, cuando hacen la celebración de San Martín Caballero, tienen la producción, la están pasando por en vivo para que las personas en México puedan verlo a la misma vez que las personas de aquí. Y cuando ellos pasaron por California, lo estaban pasando en Oaxaca por en vivo y las personas de California podían verlos también.
I also remember when we were driving and we got stopped at the border in Mexico by the Mexican border police looking through everything we had in the truck. And there we had chainsaws and, you know, hairbrushes and speaker systems and shoes and everything that all the relatives were sending to relatives. You know, they knew they needed a chainsaw and it was easier to get here than there. And then the process of trying to explain all of that to the Mexican Border Patrol about why we have 3 chainsaws and, you know, all these stereos and things. And likewise, you saw in the film when we were coming back, all the beans and certain kinds of totopos, different kinds of food that were sent back to share with everyone back in Washington and California so people could eat food that came from where they came from, that could remind them of that.
También me acuerdo cuando fuimos de aquí para México, que íbamos pasando por la frontera, nos detuvieron en la frontera de México y traíamos, en el carro traíamos zapatos, traíamos peines, traíamos cortadores, traíamos todo lo que ustedes se podían imaginar. Y tratar de explicar todo eso a la inmigración, porque por qué tenemos todo eso, fue muy difícil. Y de regreso fue igual, traíamos frijoles, traíamos totopos, traíamos mucha comida de allá de Oaxaca que la familia de aquí ya no había probado en muchos años, y explicar todo eso fue otra vez muy difícil.
Okay, another question from the audience is, was there anything about the Triqui culture that surprised you or you were unaware of during your visit in Oaxaca? Like, say, meals or the weaving or customs?
Otra pregunta es, ¿había algo en la cultura triqui que les sorprendió a ustedes mientras visitaban Oaxaca? Por ejemplo, la comida, miramos que estaban haciendo una cobija o algo, las cosas que hacen.
No, because most of the things you saw that they did over there, they would also do it here. What they were making was a huipil, and that takes a long time to make. Like, I don't even know how long it takes, but.
No, porque muchas de las cosas que hacen allá también lo hacen aquí. Lo que estaban haciendo era un huipil y eso se toma mucho tiempo, no estamos seguras cuánto tiempo.
It's what the lady up there is wearing. Actually, the parties over there, like here, girls like do their makeup, do their hair, like want to go buy new dresses and stuff like that. But over there, like they just spend hours making themselves a new huipil with new designs on them that they create themselves. They like search up or they ask someone to send them a picture or and stuff like that, and they make it themselves. And that's what they take to parties and what like the girls over there, what they pretty much show off, what they like take with pride.
Esto de aquí es el huipil, lo que están haciendo. Y como aquí en las fiestas las niñas se peinan, se maquillan, se visten bien, se compran vestidos nuevos, y allá es muy diferente. Allá se toman horas haciendo un huipil, haciendo diseños que ellos propios están diseñando, y eso es lo que usan a las fiestas, eso es lo que van y es lo que enseñan.
Thinking about the design, this graphic design, so we were lucky. First of all, I feel super honored to have been able to be part of this process with Noemi and Esmirna and Heriberto and Esmeralda, and very proud of them for doing everything they did and being patient with hundreds of different cuts and translations and everything. We were also lucky to get to work with a Oaxacan filmmaker, Yolanda Cruz, who was based in Los Angeles for a long time and now is back in Oaxaca City. And we also got to work with a Oaxacan mural artist collective named the Tlacolu Locos, who are kind of amazing. And they did the graphic designs. And so because the film is about their Triqui families and communities from a particular town with a very particular huipil, these colors, the colors throughout the design of the film come from that huipil. And then because their families are farm workers and the film starts kind of about the life largely in the Skagit Valley and also in California, you can see that she's tejiendo, knitting, knitting a huipil from the rows that she's working in the farm. So she's maintaining her kind of culture and family at the same time that she's working, difficult labor so that everyone can have food.
So, me siento muy honrado de poder haber trabajado con los 4 productores de esta producción, más con su familia, y que ellos le tuvieron mucha paciencia de tantas diferentes versiones que tuvieron que hacer. Esta foto, who did you say it was from?
Tlacolu Locos?
Es de Tlacolu Locos. I hope I said that right.
They're from Tlacolula, but they
Son
call
de
themselves Tlacolu Locos.
Son de Tlacolula, pero se llaman los Tlacolu Locos. Y aquí enseña la foto la señora que está tejiendo el huipil del campo en donde está trabajando. Es una representación sobre la cultura indígena que se la pasa trabajando en los files y están haciendo cosas del mismo trabajo.
So this is directed towards you, Seth. How did you get involved with the film and this project? And then also, given that you're a full-time professor at UC Berkeley and also a medical doctor, how do you have time to drive these 4 to Oaxaca in southern Mexico and produce the film?
Okay. So esta pregunta son 2, están dirigidas a Seth. ¿Cómo se involucró usted en esta producción y en este proyecto? Y siendo un profesor de tiempo completo en UC Berkeley y un doctor, ¿cómo tuvo el tiempo de llevar a estos 4 estudiantes a Oaxaca, a México y de regreso y producir esto?
Okay, it's red, but it works. So years ago, I lived in the Skagit Valley for a couple summers, and I met many of you. And I worked on a collaborative research project with Noemi. Wasn't born until partway through, but with their families and other farm workers in the Skagit Valley, and wrote about social inequalities and capitalism and racism that's within the food that we eat. And thought of, oh yeah, stop.
Hace muchos años yo vivía aquí en el Skagit Valley, trabajé con muchos de ustedes, trabajé con la familia de Noemi, poco antes de Esmirna, poco antes de que Noemi naciera, y trabajamos en una colaboración hace años. And that's all I remember.
And then I went back to medical school and became a medical doctor and did residency in Philadelphia and fellowship in New York City, and then took a professorship at Berkeley. And a couple years into my professorship,
Hace años volví a regresar a Filadelfia, seguir con mi doctorado, en Nueva York también, y después agarró el trabajo en UC Berkeley.
And their parents invited me, their parents wanted them, and their cousin's parents wanted them to go meet, especially their granddad, who had just gotten very sick and couldn't talk anymore. And there aren't very many people they know who can cross the border back and forth who also know where their hometown is. And so they invited me to go with them.
Sus papás de las muchachas lo invitaron para que pudiera él acompañarlos a su pueblo, porque ellos no conocían a muchas personas que podían ir y regresar por la frontera. So, él las acompañó, él sabía bien dónde estaba el pueblito y estuvo con ellas durante todo el camino.
It's not that they didn't know, because they could have simply just paid and have someone take care of us in the plane, but they didn't have someone they trusted enough with, like, you know, to have us and take us and safely know that we got there.
And bring us
Safely.
back.
Yeah.
No era mucho de que ellos no sabían, no conocían a personas, sino era de que ellos podían fácilmente pagar extra dinero en el avión para que alguien las cuidara, las llevara hacia el otro aeropuerto, pero ellos no tenían a alguien tan de confianza como el señor Seth, que las podía haber llevado y regresado para acá.
And I remember when they asked me at first, it kind of freaked me out because I looked into the legality of taking minors across international borders. And we went to Notary Public and filled out all this paperwork that the parents were making me the temporary guardian, which kind of freaked me out. But at the same time, they had shared their lives with me so generously and taught me so much, been my professors in so many ways, that I felt like, you know, I can't, if this is what I can do in response, then I need to do it.
Al principio él estaba muy nervioso, él no se sentía muy confiado en tener que llevar a menores a través de la frontera. Tuvieron que hacer muchas investigaciones de cómo se tenía que hacer eso. Los papás de Noemi y Esmirna tuvieron que ponerlo como el guardián legal por un tiempo en lo que iban y venían, y ellos le han ayudado mucho a Seth, que él sintió que eso era algo que él tenía que hacer para ellos para demostrar la confianza de regreso.
And then the last part, I'm thankful to my family that they were willing to move Christmas to January a few years in a row, because we took this trip and I got to see people who I hadn't seen in lots of years, and then my family waited until we got back, and then we celebrated in January before classes started at Berkeley again.
Él está muy agradecido con su familia porque empujaron Navidad hasta finales de enero cuando regresaron, porque tuvieron que tomar el viaje en Navidad. So, él pudo ver a las personas que no había visto en años, más aparte pudo celebrar Navidad con su familia en enero.
So is this film going to be shown in Oaxaca?
¿Van,
Really?
¿Van a enseñar esta producción en Oaxaca?
I really hope so. It's, we didn't even expect it to even be shown anywhere. And you know, we're here. This is where we're at right now. So hopefully one day in the future it does.
Espero y sí. Nosotros no teníamos idea que se iba a enseñar aquí. No pensábamos que se iba a enseñar en ninguna parte, pero esperamos y sí se enseña en Oaxaca.
So starting Saturday, it'll be in the Humboldt International Film Festival in California, and it's also been accepted to a film festival that's focused on indigenous rights in southern Mexico that's called El Lugar que Habitamos, which travels through mostly Chiapas, Oaxaca, and Guerrero to different small cities that are near indigenous communities, and it's one of the films that's traveling, although they haven't told us yet which dates it will be where.
Empezando el sábado van a estarlo enseñando en un festival en California y va a estar, what was the name?
El Lugar que Habitamos.
El lugar que habitamos en México, va a pasar por Chiapas,
Oaxaca, Guerrero.
Oaxaca y Guerrero.
And as they're naming where the film is going to be shown, I got a notice that the film will be shown here again on Cinco de Mayo, Thursday, May 5th at 7 o'clock. So tell your friends and others that you think would really love seeing this. And also, it will be showing this Saturday in Bellingham at the Pickford Film Center at 11 o'clock in the morning.
So, ya que estamos hablando de dónde se va a ver otra vez, Lo van a reproducir aquí mismo el 5 de mayo, el jueves 5 de mayo a las 7 p.m., para que le digan a sus familiares. Y el domingo en Pickford, el sábado a las 11 en Bellingham.
Okay, let's see if we can maybe make this a little more interactive at this point. I know you don't have mics, but it would be wonderful if any of you would like to just stand, maybe to have your voice projected more, if possible, and just kind of share your response to the film. What did you feel with this film? What did you learn from this film? What maybe changed your thinking about this, having seen this film? So if any of you are willing to kind of share some of that, just please stand, and then we'll try to have your words come back to us.
Okay, vamos a hacer esto un poco más interactivo. Si ustedes tienen algunas palabras sobre cómo se sintieron, cómo su respuesta a esta producción, nomás párense y vamos a tratar de darles un micrófono, si no, si pueden gritar para que los escuchemos.
I just want to say, my mom's from the border, desde la frontera de Texas, y mi papá es de Michoacán. Mi mamá llegó aquí, la familia de ella en 1967. Yo nací aquí en Mount Vernon, y watching your film was like a reflection of what I did when I was 19. And not that my parents couldn't go to Mexico, it was different for them, where they just wanted to raise us here, right? And when I was 19, I left, and I was like, I'm gonna go to Mexico, and with my cousin, and I did the exact same thing you guys did. Like, I drove down, we truck full of stuff, we left the truck there, and all the stuff that was in the truck. And when I came back, in the village where my dad's from, they gave us what they could, right? Like these little things. For us, my dad's from Michoacán, so there's a lot of cheese down there. So I came back with like 70 pounds of cheese going through San Francisco International Airport. So I just want to say to you guys that this is a really great film, and it transcends, like us and generations, and it shows people like the things that we have to go through, in our families, and how we keep our culture alive. And when I came back from my trip, I was so proud, Tenía un orgullo muy fuerte de ser mexicano y de ser michoacano y de ser de la frontera donde era mi mamá también. And when I came back, I went to college, and I met some really awesome people. This is one of my best friends here, and who called me tonight and said, hey, you want to go watch this film at the Lincoln? And I said, sure, why not? And but I just want to say that, how important this is, and I hope you guys can show it to everybody, and just because we're from different parts of Mexico or Latin America doesn't mean that we all have gone down the same roads. So I'm really proud of you guys. You guys are young. I'm a little bit older. I'm a lot older than you guys, but but I just want to say that it really hit home, and I'm really proud of you guys, and I hope you guys show it to a lot of people.
Thank you so much.
Okay, vamos a ver si me acuerdo de todo. Cuando él tenía 19 años, él hizo más o menos lo mismo. Se fue a México. Su mamá vive cerca de la frontera, pero él fue a visitar el pueblo de su papá. Y también cuando se fue, llevaba el carro lleno de cosas. Cuando regresó, también llevaba el carro lleno de cosas. Y él está muy orgulloso de ellas por todo lo que han hecho.
You came back with 70 pounds of cheese, and we came back with a whole bunch of dried beans, dried tortillas. I don't even know how much it weighed, but it was pretty heavy.
Dice, él regresó con 70 libras de queso y nosotras regresamos con muchos frijoles. No sabemos cuánto fue, pero fue mucho.
There was someone standing up back there. I think that was
Wait, can I say something? I just wanted to say that coming back and realizing how much like how proud you should be for being where you're from, I feel like is the best feeling. I don't think I said this, but coming back, I felt pretty ashamed of not wanting to embrace my culture and questioning myself and questioning so many things, right? But I really hope that like a lot of people can experience that feeling because it's really amazing.
So, cuando ella fue y regresó, ella se sentía muy emocionada, muy feliz de su cultura y no le gusta que al principio ella no le gustaba quién era, no le gustaba de dónde era y espera que muchas personas no se sientan así, que más bien se sientan orgullosas de sí mismo y de dónde son.
I appreciate the intimacy of the film and your willingness to share your family experiences with us. And there were many things alluded to in the film, including political issues, economic issues, issues between people coming from different parts of the world, perhaps, and residing in the Skagit Valley. And I'm new to the Skagit Valley, but I understand that there's a tremendous amount of agriculture. And one of the first scenes in the film, the young man was saying, there are no Americans working in the fields. And I think what he was referring to actually was there are no Caucasians working in the fields. So Americans of all different colors and backgrounds and ethnicities. So the big question I have, there are a couple hundred or several hundred people here. And we all have our unique experience of what the film means to us. But what is the call to action that somebody can know about before we walk out the door, in addition to increasing our understanding, our familiarity, and the exposure? What can people do who have an interest in helping, whether it's farm workers in the Skagit Valley or the families, the extended families that are being supported in Mexico and other countries by those who are working here? So that's what I want to know is, what can I do to help in some way?
So, lo que él quiere saber es qué es lo que él puede hacer para ayudar a las culturas latinas, la cultura triqui.
Well, by the clip, you can tell that everything is just so muddy, so you wouldn't want to spend like so many hours there, right? But can you guys imagine how far the bathrooms are? Like, how far does it take you guys to walk to the bathroom, or how long is your break? Because working in the fields is like, I grew up seeing my parents do that, and a couple times I've gone with them, and it's just something that I feel like a lot of people don't really acknowledge the risks of it. Like I said, the bathrooms being so far and everything being so hot. You have to be on your knees for hours, and it's just, there was this one time where I went to help my parents out in the fields, and I just like every other month for a woman, right? And my dad told me that just like I was, because I could have gone sit down, you know, I could have gone to the car, I could have just, if I would have stopped working or stopped helping them, it wouldn't really affect much. But if other women there stopped working because of that reason, it would affect them a lot, because that's their main income. Like, that's what they're living off of. And I feel like if at least, because going into the bathroom is just it's so humid, it's so hot in there. You feel like not even the 10 seconds that you're in there, you get a little break because it's still so hot in there. And I feel like, and water is really warm too. Everything there is just hot. You don't really get any shade, any ice unless you bring it, you know, but I feel like caring for the workers is something that is very important.
Sorry, I know this is long, but
Como pudieron ver,
I forgot she was going to translate.
como pudieron ver en la producción, es muy lodoso estar en el campo. Es mucho trabajo y no creo que muchos quieran estar ahí. Los baños están muy lejos y tener que caminar hacia el baño y estar adentro del baño por 10 segundos está muy, muy caliente. El agua está muy caliente. Los descansos que les dan son muy poquito. Ella podía haberse ido a sentar al carro, podía irse a caminar nomás así, pero no, ella siguió trabajando. Y si las demás mujeres hubieran nomás ido a sentarse, hubieran pedido su ingreso, porque es la única manera que ellos agarran ingreso. Solo que pueden hacer es apoyar a las personas que trabajan en el campo, apoyar poquito, eso es lo suficiente.
I just wanted to say, well, you guys being here already is a big support. But another thing that people don't know is that they don't take their 30-minute to eat lunch. They eat as fast as they can, or they hardly even go to the bathroom. Not because, sometimes whether because it's far, but mostly because it takes time. They don't want to waste time to go to the bathroom and come back and like start. No, they don't want to waste time. They say time is money, right? And that's what it is to them. The 5 minutes that they go to the bathroom, the 10 minutes that they go to the bathroom, or even the 15 minutes that they sit down to eat is time wasted, money that they could have earned. So they don't take their full 30 minutes to sit down and taste their lunch or even like saborearlo. They have to finish it and eat it and as fast and quick as they can so they can go back to work.
Ustedes estando aquí ya es un gran apoyo. Ellos no van al baño, no comen su lonche, no se lo saborean. ¿Por qué? Porque ese tiempo que se toman de caminar hacia el baño, de caminar de regreso, de sentarse a comer, eso es tiempo perdido. Y como muchos dicen, tiempo es dinero. Y eso es muy, muy cierto para ellos. El tiempo es dinero. Y esos 5 minutos, 10 minutos que se toman, eso ya es dinero perdido.
To the gentleman that asked that question, if you go to the resource booklet that was at the front desk, on page 11 and 12, there are some resources there and some actions as well. And then before we close this evening, I think there's one other person that had a question, and then we would also like to have Edgar, who works with the farm workers here in Skagit, say something maybe about what can be done also.
Yep. I wanted to see if Edgar Franks from Familias Unidas could talk a little bit about what's going on now, and then there were 2 other people who had their hands raised.
Should I do it here or there? All right. So hi, everyone. I'm Edgar with Familias Unidas por la Justicia. Is it easier if I just go over there? I see everybody turning around. I'll just go over here a little bit. So I think I want to first thank the directors, Seth, the producers, the film festival for giving us time to speak a little bit, and also the interpreter. I think if we give them all a round of applause, I think it'd be good. So we're a union, and we're actually based here in Skagit County. We have over 500 members here. All of them are either Mixteco or Triqui. Do you want to translate, or you want me to translate? You can get a break. So yo soy Edgar, soy de Familias Unidas por la Justicia, un sindicato que está basado aquí en el Valle de Skagit. Tenemos más de 500 miembros bajo contrato. en la compañía de Sakuma. Todos los miembros del sindicato son Triqui o Mixteco. And I'm lucky enough to be, they brought me on in 2019, and I'm lucky to follow their leadership and their struggle, and speak on behalf of the union about what's happening. Y pues me orgullece mucho de que ellos me han dado la oportunidad de hablar y presentar las ideas y la visión de la unión de los trabajadores de Familias Unidas. I think what can be done, I think what Noemi was just mentioning right now about having dignified bathrooms, water, adequate lunch breaks and rest periods. Those are, things that we all deserve. However, it's been a big political fight even to get those minimum things changed even at the regulatory level in the state, because there are large interests working against farm workers, in Olympia, in the county government, and federal level. So Noemí había mencionado sobre los baños, la agua, el calor, y desde qué se puede hacer. La cosa es que ahorita hay grupos con mucho poder e interés en negarle muchas de estas cosas a los trabajadores. Y es una pelea muy dura porque estamos peleando al nivel estatal, local y federal la misma vez. So, the union, Familias Unidas, was able to win paid rest breaks because of a Triqui worker that represented all the workers in the state, and were able to win a case in the Supreme Court that gave farm workers the right to paid rest breaks in 2015. And not only that, they got 3 years of retroactive pay. So millions of dollars got given back to farm workers because of a case that came out of here in Skagit County. So, un caso que se ganó aquí por los trabajadores de Familias Unidas locales, pudieron ganar un caso en la Corte Suprema que les dio el pago por un descanso de los 15 minutos pagado. Antes era todo gratis, por eso no paraban de trabajar la gente porque perdían el tiempo. Ahora cuando toman su break le están pagando a todos los del estado que trabajan en agricultura el mínimo o lo que están piscando. Si están trabajando por contrato y pagan más, eso es lo que le están pagando por los 15 minutos. One of the other big things that we won was overtime for farm workers last year. And that, I think it's going to be one of the, I think Washington has one of the best overtime laws for farm workers. In 3 years, a phase-in. So in 3 years, farm workers will finally, after 100 years of agriculture here in Washington, will be able to get paid overtime just like everybody else in every other sector. En Washington también ganamos el overtime, el tiempo extra para trabajadores. Pensamos que tenemos la mejor ley de overtime para trabajadores agrícolas. Y se va a hacer en pases, o en 3 años, en 40 horas, lo que se pasa se va a hacer todo pago extra, tiempo y medio. So, eso también se ganó con nosotros. Una cosa más, vamos a tener una marcha aquí el 1 de mayo. Muchos de los trabajadores, muchas de las cosas que hablaron aquí todavía están pasando en muchos ranchos. So we're going to have a march here May 1st in Skagit County. A lot of the things that they had mentioned and you have seen are still happening not only in Skagit County but throughout the whole United States. So we want to invite everybody here to march with us in solidarity for farm workers. So families like Noemi's and Esmirna, they get the recognition and the dignity that has been denied for many people for generations. So we want to invite everybody. We start at Edgewater May 1st and end in Burlington at, I think it's called Horseshoe Park. So we want to invite everybody there. And to close, we're still working on heat and smoke rules because of climate change. Workers still have to put up with some of the harshest conditions. So the best way to keep up with that is through our Facebook, Familias Unidas por la Justicia, where we're pushing the governor of Washington, Oregon, and California to adopt rules to keep workers safe when it reaches, unbearable heat. So thank you. That's some of the stuff that we're working on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if we have time for more questions. Is this, I think 8:30 was our closing.
I think we might have to have the other people ask questions afterwards.
Okay.
I was wondering if Noemi and Esmirna, if you each had one thing you want people to take away from tonight. I don't know if you had a different question.
Well, to embrace your culture and be proud of where you're coming from, never be ashamed of it, and always find a way to help others. You never know where or what people are going through and the circumstances that they are living in and stuff like that, or even stuff that they have been through, and they might be better now, but like sometimes people don't get over some stuff, and I feel like it's just important to always, I don't want to sound like cheesy, but care for everybody, and be kind to one another. I feel like that's very important.
So, algo que quieren ellas decir, Noemi dijo que siempre honren su cultura, nunca se apenen de quiénes son, y no es de que quiera ser muy rara, pero ayuda a todos y ayúdate a ti mismo también.
Also, if there's anything you guys want to do, just go for it. Don't ever be embarrassed, because at first I was like, wow, so many people are gonna, or actually I had no idea how many people, but after the Portland Film Festival, which is where it started, I was like, wow, a lot of people saw it. It even won an award at its first film festival, and I thought that was crazy, but the fact that a lot of people were going to see something so personal was at first it was kind of scary, but knowing that a lot of people, it kind of touches home, and it kind of can be educational in a way, it gives you real life clips. Nothing was scripted. I can't get over that, and I feel like always just do what you want to do and embrace who you are.
Siempre hagan lo que quieran, lo que deseen. La primera vez que enseñaron esta producción en el festival se ganó un premio, y tantas personas que fueron a verlo sin saber qué era ni nada, ver algo tan personal a ellas mismas, se siente muy orgullosa. Ella que nomás quiere decir que hagan lo que ustedes quieran hacer, que nunca se apenen de quiénes son, de dónde son.
I just wanted to say that even if you think you can't do it, you can. We didn't think this was going to be possible, and it was made possible. So believe in yourself, and I guess treat everyone with respect.
Aunque crean que no pueden, sí es posible. Nunca pensaron que esto sí iba a ser lo que es ahora mismo. Siempre traten a todos con respeto y trátense a sí mismos con respeto.
Okay, well, I think our microphones are all dying, and I think it's time for the evening to close. But I just want to say thank you to all of you for coming tonight, for being willing to come to listen, to learn, and to now take action that will be of support in both the struggles and the joys of our brothers and sisters that work in the fields here and in these fields and throughout the United States, and with their families that are in Mexico. So my thanks to Seth, to Esmirna, and to Noemi, and to all the other folks that helped put this together tonight, and a great thanks to Daisy, and she's amazing. So thank you all again, and if you haven't made a contribution to the evening, know that the money goes to the 4 co-directors of the film.
And
So
not
thank
to
you.
me.
And not to
And
Seth.
If you want to give money to a scholarship fund that supports Triqui young people going to college, then go to the film's website and learn more about it there.
Gracias a todos por venir. Gracias a Seth, Noemi, Esmirna. Si no han dado donación, el jarrón está afuera. Todas las donaciones van a ir a Noemi, Esmirna, Antonio y Esmeralda. Nada va a ir a Seth. Si quieren dar algo para un scholarship, pueden ir a la website del film y ahí pueden aprender un poco más. Gracias.
Thank you. Standing or sitting? Oh, sitting.